still exist when you cannot behold it? Multi-generational mirrors swallow your potential whole. It's time to arrive home, where the ongwe omwe ne o nekasoa flow. Peer into the homelands of your people. Backscattering 7 generations of likeness submerged in DNA strands. Emanate plumes of sage from lips cinched with porcupine quills, smothering the vocalized shrills of unbridled greatness. Unearth how deep you can sink into boundless territories of unconditional, sanction the engulfing, renewal pivotal, become a willing witness to your very own resurrection. How did you disregard your existence as a treasured memory? You are a priority. You don't owe anything to anybody. Belonging is inherent sovereignty, as effortless as the oxygen we breathe. Living your ancestors' wildest dreams takes ferocity. Breaking generational cycles of trauma takes radical empathy. This is not the time to settle, when your spirit is soaring levels of healing, of wholeness, decidingly famished for the happiness you and I deserve. When did you grow the notion of shrinking to make yourself more palatable? Deposit your destiny back into your body. They don't know your story, the civilizations you carry on your shoulders, skin bestrewn with battle scars as if you were an ancient warrior soldier. Lay down your weapons. Lay down your tobacco. You've clutched steadfast to your heart's inordinate aches and pains, day and night, night and day, day and night, night and day. Turn into and under the commissary. Soften, nurture the residencies of your demons tenderly, unapologetically. We have all skin walked into the very thing we are most afraid of. Colonialism is a syndrome. We forget when we have been forgotten. We silence when we have been silenced. We invalidate when we have been invalidated. We damage when we have been damaged, and we harm when we have been harmed. And yet, your luminescence still glistens within the dimmest of destinations. Why? Why did you relinquish your dragonfly wings? Iridescent, perfect imperfections of self-actualization, the femifestation of a vision realized. Your metamorphic release is summoning you to leave spaces incapable of being a conduit for your emotional embodied energy. Make ready this rekindled revolution. Embrace your authenticity and absolve all disillusion. Gather your sacred bundle of all that is possible, because who you are in this moment is truly remarkable. My matriarch, my Black Ongwe Onwe, my grandmother, Sylvia, Virginia, Lawrence Wesley, was born in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia in 1923 and transitioned to the spirit world in 2012. The same year that birthed Idle No More, and a year before the genesis of Black Lives Matters. It was within this intersection of personal loss and heartache and collective anguish and uprising that I found my dragonfly wings. When I returned home from the memorial and celebration of life, my mother allowed my sisters and I to select some pieces from my grandmother's jewelry, and I was immediately drawn to this dragonfly brooch. The years that followed, the dragonflies followed. I mean, like they literally followed me. Or rather found me at glistening streams and murky ponds and swift-moving rivers and lakes every summer since her passing. Their arrival seemed to coincide with me carrying my heartaches and life quakes of deep sorrow or guilt and shame or fear and rage to the water. And their departure arose with each release. Within days of these relational, medicinal exchanges, I would unravel and fall away. I would cocoon in rest, repair, and reverence, and then a gradual reemergence of restoration, realignment, and rebirth. Let's see how much you know about dragonflies. Now, did you know that in their nymph phase, dragonflies molt 9 to 17 times? Damn, that's a lot of shedding and letting go. Also, dragonflies have wing sets of unequal size. Their hind wings are actually smaller than their forewings, and each wing works independently, which makes for some lit aerial maneuvers. And finally, dragonflies can actually see in 360-degree angles. Man, they can fly in any direction and reach top speeds of 30 miles per hour. I know, amazing. Well, around 6 years ago, as I was furthering my skills and knowledge as an arts educator in schools and communities and with the Art Gallery of Ontario, I began watching this series on YouTube called Different Knowings. And it was featuring this writer, curator, artist, knowledge keeper known as Rick Hill of the Tuscarora Nation of the Haudenosaunee of the Grand River. And Rick Hill explained that our relations, the sun, moon, stars, waters, winds, thunderers, plants, minerals, rocks, the creepers, the crawlers, the swimmers, the flyers, and the four-legged were our first teachers, our first medicine keepers. They witnessed all our generations before us, capturing the essence of our evolutionary expression as human beings, and in return, inspired us to express that same essence with greater purpose with every lifetime. He also shared the term, the natural empowering cycle. To me, this is the cyclical occurrence of oneness, dualities, mid-moments, that natural rhythm that you find in sky, water, and earth that is reflected within us and around us. It is growth, harvest, death, and rebirth. It is the dragonfly effect. I full-on realized that my sacred bundle had always included the dragonfly because my revolution is my evolution. Let me say that again. My revolution is my evolution. And when I resist transformation, I become an enabler to my own soul extraction. Yeah. 4 things that the dragonfly taught me. Number 1, emotional stewardship. The dragonfly begins in water and returns to water. This is stewardship. We cannot always flutter across our emotional waters. When we lead with our hearts, we will be called to seek what is below the surface in order to expand our greater purpose. Number 2, directional presence. The dragonfly, even at top speed, can make hairpin turns, sudden stops, and hover. This is being present in the moment. This is making time for rest. The dragonfly reminds us to use our inner eyes to see beyond our limitations and to trust that the universe is directing us into the direction that we are meant to journey towards. Number 3, trust the process. The dragonfly's metamorphosis reminds us that transformation requires letting go, growth, and some adaptability, right? You know, the dragonfly spends very little of its lifetime flying in open air. This actually reminds us that tomorrow is not promised today, that we need to be grateful for the time we have and to live our lives to the fullest. And number 4, we are sacred. I'm going to say that again. We are sacred. The dragonfly transforms from this ordinary aquatic nymph into this extraordinary airborne, aerial, agile flyer with beautiful, delicate, iridescent, colorful, transparent wings. This is allowing spirit to soar. This rebirth reminds us to center more joy, more ease, more sovereignty, more liberation, and more happiness in our lives. And to never forget that we came into this existence as a sacred bundle of all that is possible. And who we are right now, that is remarkable. Nyawagoa, Wilomtic, thank you.